Hey guys, welcome back. Want to go over. I just posted a video with face breakers and using this rallying cry merc, but I wanted to make a video focused on this new mercenary tech that people are going to start using and have already been using. It's really powerful. You get a crazy amount of added physical attack damage to any of your builds, which wasn't really possible before. So this is going to open up a lot of different build archetypes. I'll go over the PoB with different mercenary, like different gear you can equip on the mercenary, and what you're looking out for with his skills. And then I'll also go over some of the different build options that you can choose from, like face breakers is one of them, Doomfletch bow is another, and then the Void Forge sword. There's going to be a lot of different options, but those are the three obvious ones I thought of. I'll have a PoB for that as well in this video. But yeah, the first thing I'm going to go over is just my mercenary that I'm currently running. You might have already seen this in the last video. I went over it a bit. I did change a couple things, but I'll show you that first. Here is the mercenary, Swiftblade mercenary that you need. He has the rallying cry buff, and this buff is pretty crazy. It gives you 4% of the damage of your main hand weapon per 5 power. And as long as there's a boss nearby, and I think the player counts as 5 power, it's pretty easy to get 25 power. So about 20% of the damage of your main hand weapon. And this mercenary can equip an axe, two-hand axe, or a two-hand sword. Ulnatul's Embrace is a really high base damage two-hand axe. So my guy's not running any Warcry buff effect. So I'm getting about 92 to 150 physical damage to attacks. You can get a better axe. I'll have that in the PoB. And then if you get a bunch of Warcry buff effect, you should be able to get at least 100% of that. You can double that damage, so be like 200 to 300 physical damage to attacks. And there's certain things that scale really hard with that. I'll go over those in the PoB as well. But yeah, so for this mercenary, I have Halcrack, one of the new helmets. This thing bypasses their cooldowns, so he doesn't need a lot of cooldown reduction on as like anoints for the amulet or the blight gloves and boots, etc. I'll have those items listed in the PoB as well, but he uses this Warcry, and then you need to stack some regeneration on him. Right now I have 2300 life regen. Sometimes he'll spam the Warcry a bunch. I notice he does that when he's like sitting by walls and there's mobs on the other side. But with that regeneration, I've never seen him kill himself just by spamming the Warcry. And we're applying a couple curses with this setup. We got flammability and LA weakness. That's going to change depending on which skills you're using. I'm using Volcanic Fissure of Snaking right now. And to apply those two, I just have the +1 boots. I think a lot of people are going to be applying vulnerability instead, and like Enfeeble or Tempt Chains. Since he's a Pride is the only aura this guy can get, you can stack Pride effect on jewelry and the belt, and then the vulnerability curse with the Pride buff will be a huge damage increase for just pure physical builds. But I'm going to explore something like that later. Right now I'm just messing with fire-based skills, so most of my gear is tailored towards increasing the fire damage. But yeah, I have some life regen. I'm trying out Count's Heart right now. It increases his life by like 2,000, 2,500 almost. But his regeneration doesn't go up that much, so I'm not sure how it's going to feel with Halcrack. I have a bunch of different items in the PoB though, which I'll explain in further detail. The last notable thing on my mercenary right now is Perkle's Toe. Nearby allies' damage with hits is lucky. This synergizes really well with lightning damage, obviously, and certain other uniques. Right now I'm running Roslatha's Coil and Volatility. I don't know the exact number, but it's at least 50% more damage combined with those two in this amulet. So it's another really strong combo. But yeah, when you're looking out for this mercenary, Rallying Cry with more duration or the cooldown support are really good. AoE is just a bonus. And yeah, mostly you're just looking for that Rallying Cry to have the more duration or the cooldown. And then if you have that and you get like a couple annoyance on your gear, then you don't have to run the Halcrack helmet. Here's my PoB that I've been working on since a little before the league start. It has a bunch of different items and stuff for like mercenaries or animate guardians. I added a new entry here for the Rallying Cry mercenary. And it might be confusing because there's a lot of different items in here. So in the video you're seeing right now, I'm going to go over the items that are pertaining to the Rallying Cry mercenary. I tried adding the Rallying Cry on each of the items that this mercenary can use. I put in parentheses Rallying Cry Merc for the items. I didn't put it for all of them because there's a lot of these items that can be used between a lot of different mercenaries, but I tried to do it for most of them. So if you're trying to find items in this PoB, check the bottom of the list / look for the Rallying Cry Merc in the item description or item name. But yeah, so for the weapon, I think best in slot's going to be this Ulnitol's Embrace. You can get higher physical damage on a rare Calm's Primacy Axe, I think. But they're going to be super expensive. Ulnitol's Embrace isn't going to be too bad, and you can actually corrupt it and put a heist. I think you can put the heist implicit on there to make it even more physical base damage. But yeah, my mercenary is currently using that. And then I'm currently using Halcrack. There's a bunch of different options for the helmet you can use. Halcrack is like the easiest one to just start using, so your mercenary spams his Warcry. There's also Warcry buff effect helmets you can get. And this helmet right here just has some different things you can get. A Warlord mod, LA weakness curse effect, experiment with implicits and explicits. The main thing you're looking for though is the Warcry buff effect. It's a Corel mod. You can craft it. The crafting version I think only goes up to 15%. But you can find these pretty easily, the 25% ones on the market. They're very cheap right now. For body armors, again, a bunch of different options. Right now I'm using Calm's Heart. I'm mostly just using this slot to make my Merc tankier, but there's other options too. This one's a really good one. You can get Warcry buff effect as an implicit, and then you can get Pride Aura effect as well as an implicit for Searing and Eater implicits. For pure damage, that's one of the best routes. Another interesting one is the Crusader chest, Consecrated Ground. this one can be good to give your mercenary some more life regeneration. I feel like life regeneration is one of the most powerful stats on the mercenaries. Life or ES regen, depending on how much they have of each. Because they never get one shot. They're mostly just taking lots of different hits and slowly whittled down. So finding a lot of life regen can really increase survivability on mercs. For gloves, again, tons of options. Right now I'm using Lactonial with a curse on hit. Right here I have Enfeeble, but you can get a bunch of different curses like LA weakness, vulnerability. I also like the conduit on here. If your mercenary is getting any charges, they share them with you. The Swiftblade can get frenzy charges pretty easily with its innate skill. So I'm using this. Another really strong option is going to be the Breath Stealer gloves. You can anoint these with any of the Warcry buff effect anoints. So that's another option that I think people are going to be going to try and get that Warcry buff effect above 100%. For boots, I'm running +1 curse, but I don't really have any specific ones for Warcries in here. There's actually I forgot to add it, but there's the boots that you can anoint. I think they're called Spore Guard. I'll put them, no, that's the chest plate that you can anoint, which is already in there. That's another good option for the chest, by the way. Alright, so I added 2 more boots. Stampede and Replica Stampede. Both of these can be anointed, which is, you use that for buff effect, or cry buff effect, or cooldown. There's a lot of different options for items you can anoint, so you really don't need to use the Halcrack helmet. I put in here as well for the helmets, which I missed earlier. The ones that can be anointed. I haven't tried these, so I'm not sure how the reduced fire and cold or corresponding resistances feels. There's 3 different helmets that you can anoint. But yeah, between those ones, you can get 2 anoints on those. And the other items that you can anoint, you should be able to use the mercenary without Halcrack, which would probably increase the survivability. But it'll take longer to set up and will be a lot more expensive because you're doing all the anoints. So yeah, that's all for boots and helmet and all that, gloves. For the jewelry options there's so many. Strangle Grasp is a really common one. It's extremely expensive though, but you can get 4 different anoints on here, which is best in slot pretty much for a lot of mercenaries. Another extremely powerful one and very cheap is Perkle's Toe. I'm currently using this and I'll probably keep using this one. I talk about the synergy when I showed off my Merc, but nearby allies damage with hits is lucky, is very powerful. You can use that with Rislatha's Coil and Volatility support. I'm not sure on the exact damage increases, but it's above 50% more damage. Shaper Seed is pretty good for life regen. I would really try and fit the Perkle's Toe though, worst case, and then Strangle Grasp if you're trying to min-max with anoints. For the rings, there's again lots of options. Really common one is Anathema mixed with Curse on Hit rings. I'm running Curse on Hit ring, single curse on it, and then Kikazaru, which gives a lot of life regeneration and reduced effective curses. Another thing, sorry, I thought it paused it there. Another thing, Mercs can one-shot themselves, physical and LA reflect maps. I noticed that yesterday. So there's the Cybel's Lament Ring, which reduces reflect damage taken. It's not 100% though. I'm not sure if you can get 100% reduced, so I would try and avoid running those maps with reflect. If you're dependent on your merc, like builds like this will probably be pretty dependent if you're running as hard content as you can. But I have the ring in there. You can try it out. For belts, a lot of options here. Again, I'm running Immortal Flesh for the regeneration. I'm gonna run Count's Binding eventually for the convert physical nearby enemies convert damage to physical damage to fire. And also on belts you can get really good implicits like aura effect, so watch out for that. On all jewelry you can get that. Yeah, that's all I have right now for the items right now on the Rallying Cry Mercenary. If you have other item options that you want added to this PoB, leave a comment and I'll add them. I'm constantly updating this thing. But yeah, that's all I got right now for that one. Another PoB I'm working on, and I'll have it linked in the video, is to go alongside the Rallying Cry Merc PoB. This one doesn't really have much in here right now because I'm not sure on all the different options. I have the 3 obvious ones in here. Right now I'm using face breakers to scale physical attack damage. Pretty much we're just looking for like items or skills that scale pretty hard off of added physical attack. I'm using Facebreaker right now. 2 other options are Doomfletch Royal Bow. Get 100% weapon physical damage as extra of each element. And then the Void Forge Infernal Sword. You get 700% of weapon physical damage as a random element. I think those are really expensive right now. They're around 15 divs for softcore. And there's only 70 listings, so if it gets popular, it'll go up a lot higher. But yeah, so there's 3 options you can look into building with. And I can pretty much guarantee the build's going to be strong because they're balanced around physical damage to attacks being hard to get. And it's pretty easy to get physical damage to attacks with that mercenary, and you can get quite a bit of it. I actually just added these ones, but here's some other items that have really high added physical damage to attacks. They're pretty easy to search for on the trade site. Good luck getting one of these. This is a mirrored amulet. I think it was for 70 divines, but this is like an example of the highest amount of physical damage to attacks you can get on an amulet. 70 to 112 I saw on there. There's a lot of more realistic ones for like half of that, for like under a divine. The Warden's Brand unique is very cheap, and you can get like 18, a little over 18 to 60 on here. The reduced attack speed can be mitigated with the Soul Eater tech. So if you need to know about that, leave a comment. I've explained it in a bunch of other videos. And then with no downside, you can get a ring like this. Downside, I guess, is the cost, and like if it has crappy other rare modifiers that have been reflected. But yeah, 30 to 51. So yeah, you can get quite a bit on your jewelry as well, to go alongside your chosen Facebreaker or the 2 weapons I showed you. And another one is with Slotha's Coil. This thing's usually expensive, but right now it's pretty cheap. So yeah, here's some options for gear to look out for if you're trying to use a skill or one of these items. I'm researching and trying to find more options for builds to make with this tech. If you want to help the PoB out, leave some comments on stuff you know about, and I'll add them in. Right now I actually don't have any skills here. I know there's some that scale with physical damage pretty hard added to attacks, but I don't have them in there yet. And only have these 3 in the notes. So yeah, if you know anything, let me know and I'll add it. Okay, yeah, so that's about all I have right now for this video. If you want to see the tech in action, my last video I posted using this mercenary and the facebreaker setup. I have the PoB for all this with multiple loadouts for like entering maps up to red maps. Yeah, I do a breach and a maven in there. Damage is insanely good. I'm working on the tankiness. I think that's going to be a common problem with these types of builds. But yeah, if you want to check that out, go ahead. I'll try and leave a link in the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If my builds or videos, POBs, etc. have helped you at all, please leave a like or subscribe. That would help me a bunch. Yeah, thanks again. Talk to you next time.